um, I'm going to talk about the heart of business. So this diagram is in there. You can download it if you want, but I'm going to talk about this real quick. So you might ask the question, what is the heart of every business? What does business always start with? Does anybody know? Anybody have a guess? You can unmute and say it.
Is it money?
No, but that is a very important factor. We'll talk about that in a second. No, but it's not money. I mean, where does business have to start? Anybody? Money
community?
doesn't. Say again?
Community?
Okay, community. Well, yeah, it has to start in a place. Yeah, that's also in what you might call the environment of business. But what is a business? I mean, what does it really start with, right? It's either a product or a service. But where did that product or service come from? Okay, it's all right.
Necessity?
Yeah, that's true. Okay, yes, a necessity. It really boils down to this. The heart of every business is a idea, right? Somebody had an idea. They had an idea that, hey, this would be a good business, or this would be a good service to provide, or this would be a great product. Somebody had the idea, and that idea could have come from a necessity. It could have come from a problem. It could have come from something they were frustrated about. It could be what we call pains. The three P's of an idea is pain, problems, and passions. Some people just are really passionate about something, and they have an idea. Hey, I'd love to start a business in this area. So certainly an idea. Now, the next step, however, is you might have a great idea, but you need something else in order for that idea to become a reality. And again, money will be a part of that in the future and all the rest, but you need to have number two, and I'm just going to tell you what it is, oh, by the way, I forgot to say this. Where do good ideas come from? The three P's: pain, problems, passions. So the second thing is an opportunity. So you have to have an opportunity in order for your idea to be a reality. You can have a great idea, but nobody wants to buy it, right? So there's no opportunity. Or you have a great idea, but you have no idea from where to begin, how to even start. So the opportunity has to follow the idea. If you don't have an opportunity, then your idea is useless. So what is a good idea or a good opportunity? An idea is a good opportunity if it fills a customer's need. You have the skills and resources to do it. You can actually sell your product or service at a profit. Doesn't do you any good to have a great idea, but you can't afford to actually manufacture. People can't afford to use it because it's too expensive. Hydrogen cars are becoming a reality, but they weren't because they were just too darn expensive. Now they're becoming lower in price, so they're becoming more of a reality. Or you got to be able to get your product and service to the customer in order to make your idea and opportunity work. You also need to be able to keep your business going. You might have a great idea and a great opportunity, but you're unable to manufacture it or keep it going. It's got to be scalable. So in other words, you got to be able to grow it. It's got to be able to sustain itself. And it's something that you want to do. The biggest problem you could ever run into is starting a business that you hate, right? You want to start something that you at least really enjoy doing. So, all right, so that's an opportunity. And here's some ways you can determine whether your idea has a good opportunity. Is asking yourself what type of business it is. We're going to talk about business structure later on in another session, but there's all kinds of business structures, platform-based businesses like Uber, and which is really popular now, or traditional-based business. And then you should write a business plan, because a business plan kind of maps everything out, lets you know whether or not it's actually a viable option. I'm going to be teaching a class, by the way, on writing a business plan starting in October, Business 13. If you really want to start a business, I encourage you to take that class. There's still room, and we're going to actually write a business plan in the class. So you might want to do that. Write a personal business plan. What are your passions? Kind of doing like a self-reflection. I might give that to you later on. We'll see. But I did that when I was in my master's program. I did a self-reflection, and it actually directed me to become a teacher. And that's why I'm here today. I wasn't teaching in an academic setting until I took my master's degree and took that personal assessment I did. And I realized teaching is what I wanted to do. And so I made it my aim from that point on 5 years ago to be a teacher. Here I am 5 years later, full-time at Norco. So anyway, so that's, might want to do a little personal business plan for yourself, discover what your passions are. If you want more information on that, let me know. I can get you a document to do that. Do a SWOT analysis. I don't know if anybody know what SWOT analysis stands for. Anybody? Okay, stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And you'll be doing a SWOT analysis as one of your homeworks in this class. It's really easy. You're just coming up with what are the strengths of my business, what are the weaknesses of my business, what are the opportunities that I have, what are the threats against it. And you can do that in your life. You can do that in your college, you choose, whatever it might be. Really great tool. Then why do you want to do your business? I don't know if you guys ever watched Simon Sinek's TED Talk on why, what inspires great leaders. He has a book titled by the same title, Why. Outstanding. You guys will love it. You have to watch that. You're going to thoroughly enjoy it. It'll help you to determine the why of anything you do. Market research, of course, is very valuable in any kind of web searches. You can also go to census.gov to search industries and things like that. So anyway, that's the second thing, is an idea must have an opportunity. And then the third thing is you must have the ability to do it. You must know how to do it. The example that I gave is you might have a great idea with a great opportunity. There's a solid market for it, but you have no clue where to begin. I had a guy that was going to be, he wanted to create a system that you had to blow into a breathalyzer in order to start your car. It was for people that maybe had DUIs, and they have such technology, but he wanted to do the same thing. And he said he was going to go to China, and he was going to find a manufacturer that could manufacture it. And I go, well, do you know how it works? And he goes, no, I just know the concept. I have no idea how it works. And I'm like, well, where are you going to go in China? He goes, I don't know, but I'm going to go there and I'm going to find somebody that can manufacture it. It's like, well, it's a great idea, but you have no idea where to begin, right? And how to do it. So it really does require at least the connections to know how to do it. And this is what we call operations, right? In a business, there has to be the ability to make happen what you want to happen. You need to know how to manufacture. You need to know how to provide the service. You need to know, and that's where your business plan becomes so valuable, as it'll show you how this thing is actually going to work. So operations, this is where you would be a manager or running the operations. There's COO in the company, Chief Operating Officer, right? He's the person that runs all the operations of the business. So that's critical, is you have to have that. That's a big piece of business. And then, of course, in addition to all of this, an idea has to have an opportunity. You have to be able to do it. You have to know how to do it. Then, of course, you're going to need, thirdly, people. And that is HR, right? The people piece of business is HR. You need to have the right people doing the right jobs to get the product to the customer. So HR is extremely critical in business, and you got to have the right people. You can't just hire anybody. You got to get the right talent, and that's where HR comes in, is trying to find the right talent for a business. So if you're an HR person, your job is going to be that very thing. Number one, finding the best talent, and number two, making sure they meet all the qualifications and that they're not breaking the laws and that the company's not mistreating their employees. That's pretty much HR. And that's, first person in HR is you. So if it comes to you being the business owner or business starter, you have to ask the question, are you an entrepreneur? Can I do this? Can I launch this? Do I have what it takes? And those are important questions. It's not easy being a CEO. It's not easy being a business owner. You have all the responsibility. The statement goes, the buck stops here. In other words, there's nobody beyond you that you can turn to. It all stops at your desk, and you have to be able to handle a lot of issues, a lot of problems, a lot of people stuff, money stuff. You got to kind of know what's going on and how to deal with it. And some people don't like that. Some people have all that it takes, and they never want to take the step to do it. Either way, you got to ask yourself some important questions. You're the most important person when it comes to your business. And this is why people don't take the plunge into their own businesses. They're afraid of failure. They're afraid of losing money. Obviously, well, I put all this money into it, and now the whole thing collapsed, didn't work out. Fear of what it's going to take. I don't know if you realize this, but when you take on a business, especially if you take on venture capitalists and others to give you money, you're kind of at their mercy. You're at the mercy of your business. You might not be able to take that weekend at the river or a weekend in Glamis, because you need to be doing your business to make sure it makes it. And especially the first few years, you got to give all that there is to give. And while others are out having fun, you have to put in the time and effort you need to. Eventually, you might have a lot of success and a lot of freedom, but initially you may not. So people are afraid. I don't know if I want to bite off that much. And then the other fear is of the unknown. You have no idea where it's going to go, how it's going to do, or if I'll even succeed. And then the biggest fear, or another fear, would be the fear of success. Like, what if I really do well? Am I going to be able to handle that? And am I going to be able to deal with the money and the success? And the people are going to, because things change when you're successful. It may seem like it's something we all desire, but sometimes it could be a very troublesome situation for some people. I mean, maybe they don't even like what they're doing. You're very successful. Now you have to manage something that you just don't even like. So here's some things that you need to know if you're going to launch your own business. You have to have confidence. You have to at least believe in yourself. You have to work hard, have a lot of energy, a lot of internal drive. They say tenacity is one of the greatest characteristics to have of an entrepreneur. In other words, you don't give up. You just keep trying another way of doing it. Vision, you got to know where you're going. Uncertainty, that's the big one. A lot of us love getting a paycheck every 2 weeks or every Friday. When you're an entrepreneur, there's no guarantee. I've met many entrepreneurs that tell me, you know what, I have no idea what next month's going to be, but I'm okay with that. Or this month I made a lot, next month I didn't make anything, but I'm okay with not knowing. Some people aren't okay with not knowing. They want to know that next week I have a paycheck of this amount coming on Friday. So that's a good indication of whether you would do well. You got to be self-directed. In other words, you can't have other people motivating you. You got to be self-motivated. You got to be self-nurturing. You can't, lie around and wallow in your self-pity. You got to get yourself up. And, if somebody, you may not have anybody there to pat you on the back. You got to get up and go. You got to be action-oriented. You can't be lazy. You got to be self-disciplined. You got to control your emotions. You can't allow your emotions to sway you. And you have to have a tolerance for failure, because if you get discouraged easy, then you may not want to venture out into your own business. So these are just some thoughts to think about when it comes to that. So anyway, all right, back to our things. So we have the ability to do it, people. Then, of course, somebody mentioned this already. You also need the resources to do it. So that's where money comes in, and that's another big piece of business. So we will be talking a lot about that coming up. We'll talk about how to manage finances. We'll talk about where you get money, how you raise money, how you invest money. Money is a big piece of business. What's the purpose of business? Ultimately, I might ask that question. You might say, well, it's to provide a great product and service to people. Yeah, that's true. But most businesses start because people want to make money, right? And money is made from the business. You take money, you make a product, you make more money. It always boils down to the fact that you're making money. And that's why we invest in businesses, that our money might make more money. So it really boils down to the purpose of businesses to make money, and money to make money. So you got to have finance though. So that's a big piece. And we'll talk about that. And then the last piece, oh, by the way, yeah, you might have investors. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about that, but just know this: if you get investors to invest in your business idea, they now own a portion of your company. And number two, you're kind of liable to them. I just read today in the book on writing business plans that sometimes it's better just to keep your business small and get your money from the 3 F's: family, friends, and fool, rather than from venture capitalists and others, because if you have a lot less liability with them, but you won't get as much money. So it just depends on your dream and vision. So the fifth piece is marketing. And that is, you got to be able to do, you got to be able to get the word out about your product. You may have the best product in the world that's revolutionary. It's going to change the world. And yet you have no way of knowing how to let people know about it. And that's where marketing comes in, right? How are you going to get the word out there? How will you acquire customers? How will you generate sales? How will you monitor the market and make adjustments? How will you innovate and scale? These are all marketing questions. So great product, producing it, it's the best thing in the world, but I got to get it to the right people. And that's where marketing and distribution come in. And we'll talk about all that in that piece. Then we have what's called the business environment. So here's our diagram. Notice I have this is basically a picture of a business, by the way. I didn't tell you that, but the little door to the right there is the roll-up door at the back of the business. And then the smokestack on top is where the leadership sits. So you have your CEO, your CFO, your COO, and then you have a CIO now, which is Chief IT Officer. Anyway, technology, CTO, I don't know what they call it anyway. And then you have your business environment, which is the environment that your business swims in. So technology, competition, global economy, local economy, all those things affect your business from the outside. And they make a world of difference in the decisions you make about your business. And the book will cover all that. So real quick, I'm just going to cover a couple things in the book because I know that we took time with our introductions today and we only have about 10, 15 minutes left. So, but here's why you study business. You can read this in your book. You know, obviously, I think, I'm not going to go over this list, but I think one of the best reasons to study business, whether or not you're even going to run a business, is it's important for you to understand how a business works because you're going to be working in a business at one degree or another. But I think it also gives you principles and tools for your own life, for managing your own life. What you learn about business really is what creates and helps you develop your personality with people, with the career you're going to have in the future. So the more you understand about business, because listen, you market yourself every day. You know, you got to deal with your finances every day, that you have to manage them. You got to deal with people every day, human resources. So a lot of the things you're going to learn apply to your life in general, not just your business, but we're going to use, of course, them in the context of a business, which is pretty good. So pretty cool. So anyway, what is a business? Is the value of all goods and services. Last year, they valued that at 18 trillion in America. 150 million people are employed at a business, and you can start a business, they say, for as little as $50, which is pretty much the price to go get your business license at the local city. There's 30 million businesses across the country. 90% of our economy is based on business and 10% upon the public sector. That's the money that the government puts into our economy. So if we did not have businesses, we would not have an economy. Our economy advances when businesses grow and do well. Our economy shrinks when businesses don't do well and don't grow. That's why this pandemic is so impacting, because businesses were shut down. That's what the economy is based on. And once they shut down, you know, that's the end of it. And I always give the example, you know, you have an idea, it's great. And maybe you move to some little village, you know, that doesn't have much going on in it. They don't have very few jobs. Everybody has to commute. You go to that little village, you start your incredible business. It starts to grow. You have to hire people. So you start hiring people from the local economy. Your business continues to grow. You're doing even more business. You're able to invest in local parks and things like that because the local government taxes you. So the city begins to improve. People's lives begin to improve. And just because you planted a business that grew and flourished and you added more people to it, now all of a sudden you've affected the entire economy of this little village. People have jobs. People's standards of living increases. People's lives get better, all because of a business. So that's really why, and what they're so important, why it's so important about having a business. But here's what your book says, by the way. This is the official definition: is seeking a profit by offering products to satisfy society's needs. So products could be goods or services. You can make an actual product or you can provide a service. And then the profit is what you make after all of your expenses. And this is the benefit to the world today. We offer awesome products to people, you know, that they didn't have before. That's one benefit. We provide people jobs. That's really the main benefit to our society, I think, is the fact that we have a job, right? We can get a job, we can hire people and they can work. And then that improves their quality of life, because as they get paid, then they take that money and they live their life. And the more money that we make as a business, the more money our employees make, and the better their quality of life grows and improves. And then, of course, people are taxed on their money, and those taxes go into making all the infrastructure, parks and roads and everything better. So everything gets better, the better businesses do. And that's the benefit to our society. There's concerns as well, though. Of course, we have health issues, environmental issues. Those are big issues today. Social disruption that happens within governments, things like that. Businesses can cause that, you know. I don't know if you guys heard about, you know, the Apple was manufacturing some part of their phone in China, and these people were basically living where they worked, and it was such strict conditions that they were committing suicide. They were jumping out of the building at night, and they had to put nets around the building so people wouldn't jump to their death, because, you know, this business was driving them so hard that they were committing suicide. I mean, that's some of the concerns that happen, you know, or maybe some kind of exploitation of children or women or somebody else. You know, those are the issues that might be of concern about businesses growing, and that's why we have all kinds of regulations today. So So here's your business environment. These are the things that affect the business as a whole. And I kind of showed you that in the diagram right here. You know, you have governmental regulations, other competitors, the global economy, technology changes, things like that. That's really what this is talking about. You know, your globalization changes, the fact that walls between nations have come down now, so it makes it much more difficult to do business. Well, it makes business more competitive, but it also opens up a whole market of, you know, from, you know, 200 or 300 million people in the United States to 7.5, 8 billion people globally. I mean, which market would you rather be in, right? So technology changes cause disruptions, social changes cause disruptions. So this is the example I gave. Your business is in the middle, and this is the environment that you are swimming in for your business. So